Hey, what's up, you guys? It's BD Horror here, and I'm back with another adult horror short story review. Sorry if I look a little bit sleepy. I have just woke up, and I thought I'd record some content for you guys. This is a little bit, well, quite a bit different from how I start many of my other reviews with a big intro, big skit or something. I think for the short story reviews that I'm going to be doing, I'm going to keep it low-key and just start it off like this. You guys let me know how you feel about it, just more so of a natural conversation. I still do natural conversation in my normal reviews, but I kind of try to amp it up to increase the hype. But since it's a short story review, thought I'd keep it laid back. And today I'm going to be talking about another great short story that I read from the Full Throttle short story collection by Joe Hill. That's right. I'm almost done with that collection. I have, like, I think 2 or 3 stories left. I'm reading right now In the Tall Grass by Stephen King and Joe Hill, which is like a novelette. And it's pretty creepy so far. I started it and it's a very creepy premise. Kind of gives me that Children of the Corn vibe, except this more so plays into the setting of that. Not exactly corn, but that sort of type of area. And yeah, it's super creepy. But I've read a majority of the short story collection, and I have to say, it's pretty good. I would recommend it because it has a lot of stories that I think are fun, that are interesting, that got some deeper themes behind them. There's also a lot of pretty good stories in there. And one of those I actually reviewed as my first short story review debut, which was I think the Dark Carousel. I think it's the Dark Carousel. Dark Carousel, yeah. Which is basically about these group of teenagers who, right before they're about to head off to college and go in different paths in lives, they decide to head back to this, famous carnival that is at the, town where they live. And they pass by this, worn down, creepy, carousel that has all these different creatures on it. And they look so realistic and scary. And they meet this creepy, ride kind of controller guy who's like kind of looking over it, gives them a history lesson about how, the old carnival had burned down and people had claimed that the horses on this carousel were screaming like women being burned to death, which is a very creepy image. And then when they unfortunately do something that kind of is immoral by this carousel, some revenge is taken in a very horrific and terrifying way. That story was great. I love that one. I give it a 9.5 out of 10. And the story that I'm going to be talking about today is another one that got a 9.5 out of 10 for me. So the same score. I do have Dark Carousel above this one. So even though they're the same score, I do have a preference. Dark Carousel will be above this one. This will be right behind it. But I still love this one as well. These 2 stories are ones that I recommend you check out. I think Full Throttle has enough good stories that you should buy it. And it's a very interesting collection. I love Stephen King's work. I think Stephen King does a fantastic job. But he oftentimes has a lot of fucking rambling in his stories. Like, it's a lot of fucking word dump, and it overwhelms you. It's so much unnecessary detail and bullshit that's in there that is like, why do I have to deal through that? There's no real reason, especially in adult horror, where it's like, you'd figure in adult horror people can understand and imagine detail. Maybe they're under the assumption that they can't do that. But I've read plenty of good adult horror stories that don't have to do that. But King is kind of like that, especially in his modern work. But Joe Hill doesn't do that. I don't think Joe Hill rambles. I've read all of his stories in here. There's no rambling. It could be the case that this is his, better work. But I know he dropped 20th Century Ghost as, I think, an earlier short story collection. And that one's one of the best rated as well. So actually, both of these are pretty well rated works. I think he only has like three short story collections. 2 short story collections and 1 that are like 4 novellas. So he's more of a refined writer, in my opinion, because he doesn't word ramble. He's kind of to the point. Really only 1 bad story in this book. Even the other one that I think is not that good is still a fun enough idea and kind of, I guess, funny to a degree. And it's actually going to be getting a Creepshow one-shot adaptation, which is Wolverton Station. So yeah, overall, Full Throttle is a good short story collection. And today we're talking about one of the best stories that I've read in a while, and that is Faun's. That's right, Faun's. F-A-U-N-S, as you can tell by the title. Faun's is essentially this really interesting story premise. It takes place with these a group of big game hunters. So these are the group of big game hunters. They're out in Africa at a local hunting reserve. They've taken out a lot of the big five. Big five in Africa are the top 5 hardest animals to hunt, which includes, if I can remember, and it's not from the book, but I can remember because I'm a wildlife guy. If I can remember, it's Cape buffalo, it's the leopard, it's a rhino, it's an elephant, and then it's the lion. So these guys have hunted. I believe these group of characters have hunted the big 5, and now the last one left is a lion, but it's a very elusive, tough, dangerous lion in that area that's pretty well-renowned amongst the natives. So they're about to go hunt it, and these guys are essentially, you know, successful people. They already made it in life. Some of them are, you kind of get the feeling that they're kind of like trust fund babies, you know, inherited the trust fund for some of them, and they go out hunting, kind of that very prestigious, pretentious kind of way. That's not, you know, shitting on big game hunting, but it's kind of shitting on big game hunting because usually that stuff is associated as very pretentious and prestigious. So they're hunting this lion, and they basically stake it out. They have this encounter with it. They're kind of familiar with each other, and they have this kind of like near-death experience, right? They have this kind of, you know, oh shit experience where one of them potentially almost dies, and another person saves them. They get this great thrill. They're like on this high because, you know, they just killed this beast, and, you know, as they finish doing that and they claimed all the big 5, they head back to their hotel that they're staying at, and they get offered this proposal by one of the hunters, and he takes them back to his hotel room, and you have this dad and son, and this dad, from the hints of it, apparently knows about what this hunting proposal is. I think you're under the assumption he may have heard about it before, or it's something that's been brought up, or he may have even participated in it, allegedly. He may have even taken a look and participated in it. But the other hunters are kind of nervous, and they don't really get what this guy's thinking, you know, talking about. And he explains that he has a hunt that he does every year, or 2 times a year, at either every year or 2 times a year at his local reserve. You know, he has a ranch out there, this hunting place, and he invites people to go there. However, it is unbelievably expensive compared to other hunts. On other hunts, these guys are paying like $30,000, you know, the other hunts they're paying $25,000, $30,000, maybe sometimes upwards $40,000 to get, you know, out for these like big game hunts, especially the dangerous ones. But this guy's is $100,000. It's $100,000, I believe. Yeah, it's like $100,000 for them to go to this hunt, and the money is non-refundable. So if they don't actually, you know, claim or hunt anything, they're not allowed to get the money back. So right away, the hunters are like, what type of fucking scam is this shit? You're scamming us, bro. $100,000, 100 racks, and we can't even get that money back or get something back if we don't even if we don't even get to hunt anything, or successfully take home anything. Oh yeah, and the rule is also, if you do happen to kill something, you cannot take it back with you. It has to go in the guy who's the owner of the ranch's gallery. So right away they're like, oh my god, so many red flags. But then he's like, you know what, I'm gonna show you something. And he shows them something. And he shows them this home video. And this home video basically shows the entire ranch, the property, kind of gives a tour for hunters so that way they know what they're going to be, you know, going to. And as they're looking for this big hunting space, they don't see it. They don't get to see this big hunting space, and they're kind of confused. They're like, why is this guy giving us an MTV Cribs tour? You know, that's not what we're asking for. We're asking for, you know, what's the things we're going to be hunting? And it goes to this attic. And it goes down into a small place in the attic. And they're like, what is this? And they see this small door. And they're like, all right, this guy's got a small door. What's up with this? And when they see what's inside of the door, they see something incredible. Something fantastic. And that thing that they see inside of the door is why this hunt cost $100,000. Why they're not allowed to get any refunds or anything back if they are unsuccessful in hunting. And is why whatever they do happen to successfully kill cannot come home with them. And that is, this door is a parallel, you know, it's an entryway It's an entryway into a mythical world of creatures. Yeah, this door lets him get into a mythical world of creatures and hunt within the mythical world. They can hunt creatures that they've only read about in fairy tales, in books, and urban legends. They all live within here. And this doorway allows you to get through there. And when they don't believe him, the guy in the hotel room has this sheet around this big bird cage. And as he takes it off, they look and they happen to see one of the small mythical creatures. And it's just one of many mythical creatures out there. It's these little weasels, these little weasel-looking creatures, very, very tiny. And as they go up to them, the creatures start talking. And they have human personalities. And they're like, wow, this is actually real. And they are harmless. However, there are plenty of bigger, badder mythical creatures in that forest that can potentially hurt them and makes it very, very dangerous. And that's what is the thrill of this hunt. So they participate in it, they head there, and obviously as they go there, they get prepared for the hunt. When they enter that mythical world, let's just say things don't go quite right, and it becomes quite a bit more dangerous and quite a bit more than what they expected. And that is the premise of Fauns. I don't want to give too much away. I'm not even going to describe what is in. Maybe you can assume by the title as to what it deals with. It kind of gives it away, but that's what it is. It's dealing with these big game hunters who get this one-in-a-lifetime experience of hunting in this mythical world, and they go a bit over their heads because there's quite a bit of revelations, reveals, and you find out this is quite a bit dangerous. I love this story. I think it has a fantastic story premise, and I would give it a 9.5 out of 10. Some of the best parts about this story is that how kind of well the writing is. You kind of get a really good sense of how well the writing is because it feels very natural. It feels very sort of, like you're in that moment and you can very much experience this and picture everything that's going on. I think it's written day by day and report like in chapters as well, or sections like that. So you kind of get the, experience of who these characters are, what their thrills are, kind of the big game hunting lifestyle they have. You get introduced to that hotel room experience where they get explained everything. And then when they actually go and experience this, it's very, it's very incredible. The way the writing is, you're very much immersed in it. You get that sense of that, that urge, that thrill, that mystery, that sort of suspense, the anxiety, and then you get into the actual thing, and it's very creepy. And though another thing that I love about it is involved with who the mythical creatures are. In the setting of that, world and what happens, it has a very kind of biblical feel to it. It feels like something you'd probably read out of the Bible, this sort of biblical, kind of like religion mixed with mythical, kind of that kind of story. Again, stuff you'd see in the Bible. It has that kind of feel to it. It has that sort of symbolism regarding what sort of happens. And yeah, this is a very effective story. It is very creepy and eerie. It's an eerie story just because of that sort of biblical kind of feel to it, right? Like that sort of mythical world, that religious kind of aspect. Those aspects tied together makes it very eerie, very creepy, and man, it's one hell of a tale. It's one hell of a fucking tale, and I think you should read this short story. I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10. This is the second best story in the book, and these two stories, Dark Carousel and Fauns, from what I've read so far, are definitely worth you guys picking up because I think they'll make an impact, and I think the other stories in this book are good enough and well enough, especially another one which is called Devil on a Staircase, which I may talk about. Those stories are also, very well done enough that you should pick up this short story collection. And who knows, I'm reading In the Tall Grass. I heard that's a good one. Michael Guzman's fan also told me he heard that's a good one. If that one ends up being good, I'm going to also make a review for that as well. But that is the end for this review. I don't want to talk too much about it because you might get spoiled as to what it is. And I want you to experience it for the greatness that it is. So that's all I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to keep doing more of these short stories. I'm really only going to do these short story collection reviews, short story reviews individually for stories that I think are great or fantastic or really well done that I think you guys should check out. Standout ones. I don't think I'm really going to do them for the bad ones. For any short stories that are bad, I'm just going to kind of maybe rant about them in the collection, the actual short story collection book review. But for any ones that are so good that they need to be individually talked about, I'm going to do it as that. So that's all I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry if I was stuttering or kind of all over the place. I just woke up, so brain's still kind of waking up. But I thought I'd pump out some content for you guys. And yeah, that's all I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Stay cool, stay classy, and stay tuned for more content. I'm going to be dropping more reviews. I think there also may be a podcast episode for Goose Junkies coming out soon. Christmas edition, the Christmas special, so stay ready for that. And yeah, stay tuned, and deuces. Man, recording this while I'm tired, man. This is a battle. I look like I'm as high as Bob Marley right now. I look like, you know what I'm saying, I'm Wiz Khalifa out here. But no, I just woke up. But I wouldn't mind some Khalifa.